Yo, what up, what up, what up, what up, what up, what up, everybody? I think we live. Yep, we live. Hey, we got a very special episode tonight. We're going to get right into it, man. Tonight we got Mike Matter, a music lover, a producer, a rapper, an all-around dope individual, a family man, you know what I mean, and somebody who got a lot to say. I believe you coming from the West Coast, Mike. Where you coming from?
Yep. I'm living out in Menifee, California. Grew up in Ventura County, 805. Been out here my whole life. Moved a little further away from the beach, but here I am.
Word, man. Thank you for coming on Herm Radio. Absolutely, bro. And, you know, we've worked together before. We never actually talked, you know what I mean, face to face, so to speak. So it's a pleasure to have you on here, man. Love to pick your brain here, your music, all that type of stuff. That's what we're here for. So the way we do on Herm Radio, before we really get into it, we like to kind of just get right into the music, kind of introduce the artist through the music. So what song would you like to hear first? Kind of
Well, if it's gonna be an introduction track, I'd say let's go with "Baby Girl." It's one of the last songs I recorded back home back in 2010. Did it for my daughter before I left home. So yeah, if you want to play that one.
All right, so let's get right into it, Mike, and then we'll be back to talk about it. So this one's called "Baby Girl" by Mike Matter. Herm Radio. Let's go. Hold up, it's loading up. It's taking a second.
Yeah. For my beautiful girl. It's just me and my baby girl in this crazy world. Long as I raise her right, no need for me to save the world. I take her by the hand and guide her to the right path. No matter the road she takes, I'ma help however I can. Cause that's what daddies do, protect and advise. She'll be doing big things, I can see it in her eyes. Every time she smiles at me, I gotta smile back. Best thing that happened to me, and she's gotta know that. Even on her worst day, I'ma be by her side. And every birthday, I'm singing to her with pride. Knowing every day she's growing and getting older. Whenever she needs me, I say to spot up on my shoulder. I'ma scold her when she steps out of line, but only cause I love her and I gotta teach her right. Till my very last breath, I'ma do all I can. Cause I'm a man and I wanna be a good dad. It's okay, baby girl, daddy's right here. No more fears, let me wipe away the tears. Put your head on my shoulder and close your eyes. Leave your problems behind, we gon' be alright. It's okay, baby girl, daddy's right here. No more fears, let me wipe away the tears. When times get tough, I'll protect you, don't be scared. No matter where you're at, just call and I'll be there. Me and your mama didn't last, I'm sorry but we tried. And I'm always gonna love her, we created a life. That life was you, you're my shining star. First time I had you by myself, it was kinda hard. Not because I couldn't do it, but I had a lot to learn. You took it like a little champ, no more cause for concern. You put your trust in me, and I never wanna lose that. Always giving me a toy, so I must have been a cool dad. Believe it or not, you were pretty stingy, but just us two. You were always sharing with me, tripping out, cause you always made me laugh. Not even 2 years old, already acting like your dad. Made me sad every time I had to leave you, but I always look forward to the times I get to see you. Truth be told, I love you endlessly. Put your name up on my arm for everyone to see. It's okay, baby girl, daddy's right here. No more fears, let me wipe away the tears. Put your head on my shoulder and close your eyes. Leave your problems behind, we gon' be alright. It's okay, baby girl, daddy's right here. No more fears, let me wipe away the tears. When times get tough, I'll protect you, don't be scared. No matter where you're at, just call and I'll be there. Even when you're all grown, I'ma always be with you. When it's time to leave home, daddy's gonna miss you, but I'm confident you'll be doing just fine. You got the brains of your mama, attitude like mine. Don't ever let another man treat you bad. Always gonna regret the day that he meets your dad. I just want what's best for you. I hope you could see that there'll be days you don't like me and calling me a mean dad. I accept that, it's just a part of life. There will be plenty times we don't see eye to eye, but realize this this is all for you. You're always on my mind, everything that I do. When I'm dead and gone with you, my soul lives on. And if you need reassurance, just listen to the song. I love you, baby. You're my best friend. Me and you against the world, together till the end. Yeah. I love you, baby. Everything I do it for you.
Yo, Mike Madden, man. Yo, that was a beautiful song, bro. I want to say, man, yo, that's the definition of gangster, man. That's the definition of hip hop. That's the definition of being a man. Like all that stuff that you talking about, like, yo, you really meant that too, man. Like, that's a beautiful thing, man. In a world where, like, you know, a lot of girls, a lot of boys don't have their fathers. They might have their fathers, but they're just not they're not there for them in the way they need to be. But it's like, wow, man, that was a really amazing song, bro. Like, you know what I mean? A lot of people, they just want to hear about this or that, trap music or street politics. But it's like, wow, to sit back and listen to that track and to know what that can do for the youth to listen to that track, and, like, you know what I mean, just on a general basis. And, like, people I know and girls I know that don't have fathers, like, wow, that's a beautiful thing, man. So that's an amazing message, bro. Thank you. I hope anybody that hears that should, like, applaud this man, bro, for putting that out. And it bumps, and it was like I'm bobbing my head, I'm listening to the lyrics. Had that West Coast feel, kind of like a pop type of thing. The way he just kind of teaches you some stuff, man. Yo,
thanks, man.
Yo, bro, tell us who you are, man. Who's Mike Madden, man, and why do you make music like that?
So, first and foremost, and no disrespect to you, when I say, because I've heard different variations. This first time I've heard the Mata. My family pronounces it Mata.
Mata.
Yep. But no worries, man. Everybody. I've heard Mata, Mata, Mata. I've heard it all.
I got a crude accent, man.
It's all good. I go by the artist name Mike M. Funny thing, when I first started, and I always tell people, I'm not going to tell you what I originally went by. When I first started in the music thing, I went by, I don't remember if it was just Chaos or Little Chaos or what variation I was trying to use, but that was my little thing. I was supposed to be like, of the moniker, the Quiet Riot, all this stuff, but I had a lot of stuff to say. So who am I? I grew up in a small town called Santa Paula. I bounced back and forth between that town and a city called Ventura, which is a nice little beach city, cool weather. Love that area. Wish I could go back, but where I'm at, I love it too, so I can't complain. So growing up in that area, just going back to that, there's not many people as I was growing up that were into the hip hop scene out there. There were people doing it, just not anybody that I knew or anybody from my circle. Trying to get into it, it was damn near impossible. So what ended up happening was I was working at, I had my first job at a pizza place. I was a busboy at a pizza place. And, one of the guys there introduced me to one of the other dudes who was on shift and, told me he was a drummer. And I'm like, okay, cool. Let's, and then, I showed him some of my raps. I rapped for him. He was like, oh, that was dope. You know, like, let's make something happen. I'm like, let's do it. He's like, okay. I got a buddy. I forget the guy's name, had a studio in Ventura. I'm like, perfect. I don't have means to that. I don't have access to any of that. I came from writing poetry and poems and really having a love for hip hop. And mainly at the time, it was all the West Coast stuff that I was listening to. Like, you had Tupac, you had Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg. Like, that was all the stuff that was in my tape deck while I was, you know, doing whatever I was doing throughout the day. And a lot of that came from my brothers, listening to Beastie Boys and I can't remember what else that I used to steal from them just to listen to their stuff. But so heavily influenced by all that. So going back to the story, he takes me into this studio and the guy was just right off the bat like, hey, that's cool, but it's not my thing. I do like ska and punk and all this. So yeah, I don't really have time for this. And that's when I knew, like, all right, man, I got to start doing this myself. I got to save up money. Yeah. And my boy Christian was on board. He's like, I'll help too. Let's do it. So we started saving our money, started investing. Unfortunately, Christian wasn't able to stay around for too long. So when he went away for a bit, it was all on me. And luckily, when I turned 18, I went to a casino with my mom and my grandma. Actually, they're into the gambling scene, so they were excited to take me. So I roll up in there, and we were about to leave. I was bored. I was like, this ain't my thing. I don't like losing money. And I gave my grandma 20. I throw a 20 in this quarter machine, and a light on the top starts going off. And I'm like, I don't know what happened. And my grandma's like, oh my God, hold on, stay here, don't move. And I'm like, okay. And the girl next to me is like, dude, you know what you just did? I was like, I don't know. She's like, you hit the jackpot. I was like, oh, cool, whatever. Yeah. So I hit the jackpot, and this dude comes with a stack of cash in his hand. It was almost like $5,000. Puts $5,000 right in my hand, and I'm just looking at it. I'm like, damn, dude. So that was the start of Mike M and V-Town Records, and I was able to go into Guitar Center, pay cash. I didn't have to finance anything. Everything was mine. You know what I mean? So
what year was this?
To make that was I had turned 18, so 2003 was when I first got the equipment. But previous to that, the only way I could ever record songs, which is how I showed Christian my stuff, is my mom had a karaoke machine from late 80s, early 90s, whenever they came out with it. And I remember it at Christmas parties. So I found that in our storage shed, busted that out, had a broken microphone that I have to hold the cable to make it contact. And I would play instrumentals in the background, and I would record. And that's how I did my first few recordings. But then, like I said, come fast forward 2003, that's when I really started to get the equipment and everything I needed to make this stuff happen.
Wow, man. So like when you got that money, was it going in your mind like, I want this, I want the next thing, I want the next thing, and then you just came to it? Or like as soon as you got that money, was you just so on point that you was like, it's going to the studio?
That money was already spoken for, and it was all for the studio.
Wow.
I at the time I had no idea about production. Like I had, just like everybody else, had downloaded Fruity Loops at some point in their life and all that. Like we had been messing with stuff like that, but I didn't know anything about any of that stuff. Like it was all new to me. All I knew is I wanted to rap. I wanted to be a rapper. I had a lot of shit to say, and I wanted people to hear it. Thankfully, I went the route that I did. I bought a synthesizer. I bought a mixer. I bought an effects processor. I bought the good microphone. I bought some headphones. I bought everything that I would need to actually run a studio, as opposed to just geared towards just the rapping end. Because again, when my buddy Chris went away, it was all on me. So here I am with the Yamaha Motif ES6, I believe it was, learning how to do all that. And there were drums on there, so I didn't have to worry about that. But I also bought the program Reason by Propellerhead. I bought it at version 2.5. I've been upgrading ever since. I think they're at 10 or 11 now or something, and I'm like one version behind. I enjoy using Reason. I used to go heavy on beats when I didn't really have a setup. All my stuff set up, so I would go heavy on Reason, but now I really just use it to bring in whatever I record into Reason, and then record my vocals in there. And now you could do you could add VSTs in there and all that stuff.
That's a great new feature, because it used to be just built-in instruments, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm. So,
let me ask you this, man. So, like, you talked about you were just kind of on the come up. You didn't know anything about production. You win this money. You get this $5,000. You already know what you're gonna do with it. You make that initial investment. Now I'm looking behind you right now, man, and it looks like you invested a lot more over the years. Or like I don't know how long it took you to acquire this stuff, but like, so tell us about like where did that journey take you, man? Because as I can see, you went from just $5,000 worth of equipment to like, looks like you got like your like pick or like different flavors of damn synthesizers behind you, man.
Yeah, like I tell my wife, every new piece is just a new tool for the toolbox. There's nothing specific ever when I go into it, other than, well, let me take that back. There is a specific use when I look into something, but once it's there, there's nothing specific about it. Now the sky's the limit with all these different machines, and that's my thing. This is 20 years in the making. I've been doing this for 20 years now, plus. Because I think it was as of like last November. I recorded my first song in '99. So, however many years later we are, 21 now, going on 21. This is 21 years in the making. All this equipment that I have, and fortunately, I am able to support my hobby still, and still continue to make this stuff. but yeah, so I would say and I'm a hoarder when it comes to music equipment. So the only thing I've lost since then is any kind of piece that went out or got stolen, or the Motif ES6 is no longer in my collection, unfortunately. But I did go back and get a Motif ES rack, and that thing has all the same sounds and more. So I'm excited about that.
I see cords back there too. You got all those things hooked up right now?
So everything is powered up.
Okay.
I run my 1/4 inch or whatever kind of output it has to my main piece. My centerpiece is my Boss RC505 looper. That's what I record everything into. So I could set however long I want my loops to go. It could be 4 bars, it could be 1 bar, it could be 32, 64 bars, however long I feel like playing, and then it'll loop. So I run 5 tracks, and I tell everybody this. I try to go about my beats like a 5-piece band would. You have a drummer, a bassist, a guy doing the leads, a guy doing the keys, and so I try to stick with just 5 tracks. That way, just keep it simple, but still make it effective.
Yeah. Wow, man, that's interesting, man. So I want to get into another song by you, but before that, you're obviously like a seasoned producer. You got all this equipment and everything. So if people want to hire you, if people want to get at you for production, all that type of stuff, how do they contact you? Who do they look for?
Best way to do it right now is go to MySpace, and it's Mike M Productions. I also have the website, but it's better to go through the MySpace. I'm taking it back a few. It's better to go through the Facebook.
Okay, not MySpace. I was like, okay. Yeah. I was like, all right. So you brought it back.
I'm taking it back to when I first started. No, you go to the Facebook and social media is such a trip, man. I'm talking to some dude in Boston right now. It's like, when can I ever been able to do that?
You know
go to the Facebook, Mike M Productions. I believe my website is www.mikemproductions.com. As simple as that. Long name, but that's what it is.
Yeah, I was gonna let the MySpace slide. I was like, hey, whatever, no questions. I'm not gonna tell him, like, you know what I mean? That's not a good idea. You gotta update it. But nah, you on point.
To be honest with you, I don't even know if I still have a MySpace. That's what's funny about it. Is like, where did MySpace come from? I have no idea. But yeah, that's how to get a hold of me. I do plan on doing one of those. I don't know if it's BeatStars. I might try to do an account with that and just start promoting my stuff through there. That way everything's up there. Everybody can hear what I have, unless there's something else out there. I haven't done enough research, but that's the one that I think I might go with right now. Yeah. So not to give them the plug or anything, but that's just might be the route that I end up going.
Yo, while we here right quick, man, on this subject, interesting thing I've come across is actually Clickfunnels is working really good for producers. So Clickfunnels is like a little setup. It's like the modern day version of a website, but instead of a website, it's very specific to the task of selling a product in a way that's been proven to work. And they got templates that kind of like work for anybody. You know what I'm saying? So it's like Clickfunnels is what it's called, but producers have been really successful selling beats. It's kind of like a thing where it's like sending emails and stuff like that, but it's not no simple stuff. It's like on a level that's been proven to work for people. You know what I'm saying? So that's just something.
I'll definitely check it out. Is it something that kind of like how you could set up your leases or your exclusives and all that? Like,
it's not even specifically that. It's more so something that's proven to get customers. You know what I'm saying? So Clickfunnels works like if you got a camera business or if you got a plumbing business, or but a lot of people use it for beats. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
So the lease thing, all that stuff is kind of more up to you. They got templates for that too, but it's like Clickfunnels, producers grind or whatever. They talk about it, about using Clickfunnels. They got their own stuff, but yeah, I'm trying to like that seems to be the future for selling beats. Like, you know what I mean? Like
definitely something to check out, man.
No doubt. So let's get into another track by Mike M, man. What do you want to hear next?
Since we kind of took it back to the beginning, let's go into, I think it's called Softer Side Snippet is one of the ones I had you download. Let's do that one. That one's a shorty. I think it's like a minute long.
All right, let's get right into it. And then we'll be right back with you. Softer Side Snippet by Mike M, Herm Radio.
What's up? You know my name, and everywhere I go, it's all the same. I get much love from the ladies. If you're so fine, then come my way, please. Say cheese, take a picture with me. lucky I let you kiss me, miss me whenever I leave. I'll be coming back, so don't you worry, I'm in a hurry. I gotta go, next time I'm in your town I'll let you know. But for now, don't wait for me, let another man keep it safe for me. When I get back, you know it's on. Details going on till the break of dawn. After that, I'll leave again, looking forward to the day we meet again. Sleep again, hold you in my arms, knowing that the day you're free from harm. Someday, you can stay with me, no turning back once I break you free. I won't ever leave again, I'll stick by your side until the end. When the end comes, we'll make a toast. Give you one last kiss, then hold you close.
Yeah, that West Coast stuff, man. That West Coast stuff, man, definitely, bro. There's something I was sleeping on coming from the East Coast, the far east of the map, as far as America goes. Like, definitely that offbeat, uh, the offbeat patterns you guys often use, where it's that dun, tch, dun, you know what I mean? Like that kind of that slap. That's what you guys call it, that slap or whatever. Some parts of California. But it's like, man, like I really came into it in my older age and really started appreciating like that West Coast thing. Like we all listen to the West Coast, like that made me like I grew up on Tupac, all that type of stuff. But that real, like, you know what I mean, like all that type of stuff. Yo, tell us about like West Coast hip hop, man, and like what that means to you, and like how that really brought you up, and what makes California hip hop like stand alone, like with its sound and all that type of stuff, man.
So I definitely think the West Coast genre of rap, if that's how you want to divide it, I definitely think it's got its own, for just like East Coast does, just like Midwest, Dirty South, like you could tell what kind of track is when you're playing it and what kind of style it is when you're hearing it. I don't personally think that anything stands out above the rest, even coming from the West Coast. Like I probably had a chip on my shoulder back in the day, like, oh, West Coast better than anything. But just being more mature and being a man now, it's like I love all music, man. I go by, I listen to Mobb Deep, I listen to Wu-Tang on a daily basis. You know what I mean? And that's mixed in with my Tupac, or that's mixed in. I love Eminem stuff. I love all of it. But to go back to your question about what makes West Coast hip hop stand out to me, growing up on that stuff, it's the stuff that takes me back to being a kid, growing up, hanging out with my cousins. I have a lot of cousins, but there's 3-4 main ones that I hang out with all the time. Not so much now because we're older and live far away, but it just takes me back to a good time where our dads and moms were out partying and we got to just run amok. So listening to that stuff, I just remember cruising down the coast, listening to some Tupac or Sally Cell, or just any of that stuff. Eazy-E, I was always bumping Eazy-E, and it's like, oh, who are you listening to this stuff? It's like, I love this music, I love all this stuff. But so I guess what makes it stand out, if I were to think of the genre as a whole, it is the instrumentation. It's if you think about, and I'd say Dre did it the best, is when he has his leads and he just rides those leads and gives it the little what do you call it, the pitch bend, and manipulates that lead into just, I don't know, man, it does something different than anything you've ever heard. Same thing with the keys, when you got the keys slamming chords in the back, just doing some Dre beats or some, I don't know where Scott Storch came from, but I just his beats kind of had that same, kind of feel to it, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
okay. So but yeah, I don't know, man. It's just a love for music as a whole. And I'm able to play what I play, the styles that I play, and I do end up falling back on some of those feels, like you're saying. So like that one, the snippet, that was made by my buddy Christian. The beat previous, Baby Girl, I forgot to give the shout out to ERG. He's the one that did that one. I love that beat, man, and that complimented everything I had to say on that one. But yeah, it's just, it is one of those things, kind of like you said, when you hear it, you know what it is,
Yeah, man, my girl's from Los Angeles. She said that, I was talking with her about it. She said that out there, one is the funk influence. The what do you call it? What do you call it? G funk, P funk.
G-Funk, there's G-Funk, yeah.
George Clinton. It was called P funk, right? Originally.
Oh, P-Funk. That I'm not sure.
Whatever the funk, some kind of funk it was called, the George Clinton, all that type of stuff. And so that's one of the reasons she said that also, like, in the atmosphere, she feels like maybe it's more experimental out there. Like, it's more kind of like, it's more freedom of expression. Like, out here, it's more like, it's more that, ba-dum, boom, da-da-dum. Like, you talk about Mobb Deep, everything is like, you know what I mean? Like, sticking to that 1, 2, 3, 4, 2. You know what I mean? So that's like that's what I came up on. So it's like it's different for a lot of people because it's like almost like moving to a different beat. So it's like it's interesting to me. Like I immerse myself in West Coast music now, like Dane Funk, Sugar Free. I love Sugar Free. You know what I mean? Like a lot of stuff. Telling you, you know what I mean? So so West Coast very interesting to me, man. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So yo, how you been with everything in the world today, man? How you been feeling, bro?
We're in crazy times, but I do feel like ever since I've been writing music, it's been some form of crazy times, and I personally don't like to get too political or too crazy with any of that stuff, but just because there's too many people that are too sensitive to it. I mean, we all have our own beliefs in the way we think of things, but like I've said before, and I'll say it again, changes do need to come, and we as people need to grow and get better, and make it make it an easy place for everybody to live. You know what I mean? So. As of right now, it's not happening. There's a lot of bullshit. There's a lot of stay-at-home shit. I'm a homebody. I love it. I love being home, but you know, seeing my wife have to go through the struggles of wanting to get out of the house, and it's like, you got to wear your mask. Don't take the kids anywhere. They're gonna get sick. Like, this is crazy, man. Like, it's crazy.
Never before in life have we seen stuff like this. You know what I mean?
Nope.
So it's gonna be a crazy time. Have you been able to be productive as a musician, as an artist in these times?
So I do feel like I tend to make time for that no matter what. No matter how hard life gets or no matter how crazy or hectic the schedule gets, there's always got to be a few hours minimum, you know, every few weeks to try and be creative. Whether it's music, video stuff, you know, whatever it may be, whatever kind of project I'm trying to work on, I try and dedicate a little bit of time to stay creative, because there's always stuff I want to do, and there's millions of things in my head that I wish I could put out. There's just not enough time in the day, you know?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, definitely try to stay creative throughout.
You got any kind of routine or anything to keep it going, or do you just go with the flow?
Really, it's just, hey, you know, you need anything to the wifey, and then it's like, no, okay, I'm gonna go up in the studio for a little bit. I get in there, and whatever I feel like working on, Lately, it has been a lot of instrumentals, and I have a real 80s heavy influence on me, and so I'm trying to do my own little like new wave instrumental album right now, and yeah, I just busting out the old synthesizers and trying to make some stuff happen with that.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of the similar stuff. Like, I've been taking every day, I'm handling what I gotta handle as far as errands, or like, you know what I mean, whatever I gotta do. And then it's like, yo, the time I've just been building and creating in my different medias and my mediums, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, you gotta take this time and like do your thing if you can. If you have the blessing to have time, like a lot of people, they gotta go out and get it however they can in these times. But if you have the blessing to have some time to like just do whatever you want to do, man, but more than Netflix or video games, like like you could have a PlayStation 4 or you could have a wall like Mike M got, you know what I'm saying? like a few, you got, you know, I know it's a lot more than PlayStation 4, but it's like, you know what I mean? Like, that's what I be trying to, I ain't on the video game in like 6 years, because it's like I try to invest, so that's dope, man. Yeah, so let's go ahead and let's get right into another track, man. What would you like to hear next?
So let's get into, and then we can create a nice topic of conversation with that. Is we got If I Don't Get the Chance, featuring Mr. Ballistic.
Word, Ballistic. We gotta talk about him, man. Gotta talk about him. Let's go. All right, If I Don't Get the Chance, featuring Ballistic. Herm Radio. Let's go.
If I don't get the chance to tell ya, just know I did the best I could. If I don't get the chance to tell ya, just know I'm at rest doing good. If I don't get the chance to tell ya, just know I love my family and friends. If I don't get the chance to tell ya, just know in the end we'll be meeting again. This is for my family and friends that went before me. You will never be forgotten. Thanks for all the light you've shown me. Never lonely, I'm occupied with the memories playing over and over in my mind. It tends to settle me. Several weeks have gone by, I'm left wondering why the good die young or live life suffering, struggling to live a life full of happiness. I've had some good days, but I know this can't be it. Maybe it is, maybe happiness is in a better place where our wings can span, no more devilish ways. If that's the case, I'ma stay on the grind, hustling to the top, destination in sight. I take flight, it's about to get hard again. It's all good, I'm looking up to my guardians. Much love, talking to them when I pray. They give me all the strength I need to get me through the day. If I don't get the chance to tell ya, just know I did the best I could. If I don't get the chance to tell ya, just know I'm at rest doing good. If I don't get the chance to tell ya, just know I love my family and friends. If I don't get the chance to tell ya, just know in the end we'll be meeting again. In the event of my demise, please don't cry. It was bound to happen, only thing guaranteed in life. It's alright, tell my family I love them. Wipe the tears from the eyes, wish I could kiss them and hug them. Take care of my mother, my grandmas and my father, my brothers, my sisters, my lady and my daughter. In return I offer to guide you through the hard times. Open up my lyric books, flip through all the rhymes. Go inside my mind, read the book of my life. I wasn't always right, but understand that I tried. Every night I prayed for redemption, to wash away my sins and join the forces of heaven. Since age 11, when my grandpa passed on, I knew we'd meet again, and that's what kept me strong. Don't get me wrong, I lived a wonderful life, so goodbye for now, I'll see you on the other side. If I don't get the chance to tell ya, just know I did the best I could. If I don't get the chance to tell ya, just know I'm at rest doing good. If I don't get the chance to tell ya, just know I love my family and friends. If I don't get the chance to tell ya, just know in the end we'll be meeting again.
Mike, yeah, what's up, bro? It's your boy Ballistic, man. Let me spit a few little flows on this thing right here, man. Let them know what's happening, man. I dig deep inside myself till the shovel is broken. What's relief for my pain is the answer I'm hoping. I'm tired of sitting all alone in my four-cornered room watching candles, cause life is a scandal. People are just vandals, they all wanna take. Get your hand out my pocket for goodness sake. Move the dark out my way so I seek his grace. All the rage on this earth got me making mistakes, so I ask God forgive me when the light does break. So bright in my face and make a vampire quake. Can't take the opposition and follow my words. Listen closely as you enter my world of verbs. This action, this movement, let the time be now. Head bang to the system, just crumble to the ground. We the leaders, not the followers. In this sound, there's a way for the lost to be found. Tell them that.
If I don't get the chance to tell ya, just know I did the best I could. If I don't get the chance to tell ya, just know I'm at rest doing good. If I don't get the chance to tell ya, just know I love my family and friends. If I don't get the chance to tell ya, just know in the end we'll be meeting again.
Yeah, Mike, y'all went in on that track, man. I like that track. I like that message very much, man. Important message, you know what I mean? Heartfelt. So tell us a little bit of that track. What were you guys thinking when you made that?
Well, let me take it a step back and get into the whole thing with Mr. Ballistic. Shout out to Mr. Ballistic, because
Shout out, Mr. Ballistic.
yeah, he's the one that brought us together. He's the one he brings some stuff together. I'll give him that for sure. So back in, I can't tell you what year now, but so in high school I did a VizCom class, right? And this is all going to tie in, I promise. Back in high school I did a VizCom class, and my teacher in VizCom was like, YouTube and online video is the wave of the future, as well as CDs, as far as duplication goes. He goes, so get into YouTube, get into this. So I took that and I'm like, all right. So I ordered a couple, it was one at the time, a 10 disc duplicator for CDs. And I ordered a thermal disc printer for printing on the CDs, right? And I started my business. This is again early 2000s, and I threw flyers in a local record shop called Salzer's, and it was CD duplication, all this stuff. Hit me up, and that's how Dwayne found me. I think he was in Salzer's. I think he got a hold of the flyer, and he calls me. He's like, "Yo, what up? This is Mr. Ballistic." I probably introduced himself as Dwayne. I go by Mr. Ballistic. I'm working with this group called the Gospel Rap Alliance right now. They need some help with some duplication. Let's do this. And then from there it blossomed into more and more work and getting together and doing stuff. So now fast forward to that track that you heard. I wanted him on a track because I had never had the chance to hear him rap. Like everything was like, oh, all this stuff is over here. All that. Okay, cool. So I wanted to bring him in, and I wanted to include him. So when I had written that track, I didn't have a third verse, and him coming from the Gospel Rap Alliance at the time, it was like, I know you got some positive stuff to say too, man, and can you come in and bless the track? And he did. And I remember the day we recorded it, it was at that beat was produced by Philly Blunt. He came through to Philly studio, the Science Lab, and we recorded it that day. And yeah, that was history, man. I really enjoy that track. That's why of the 16 tracks I think I sent you, that's one of the ones that had to make it, because I am all about the positive message and having stuff that actually means something when you're saying it. Don't get me wrong, I do my tracks that are, trying to appeal to the masses, that they just want to, go dumb and hear stupid stuff. But at the end of the day, I like to have a positive message and good stuff to say to people, and that one will forever remain one of those types of tracks for me.
Yeah, man, forever is a good word, because a track like that, and as artists, one of our powers is that we can live through our music. So when you leave a track like that, both of what y'all said, the overall delivery, and bringing like how y'all brought everything together into that piece of art, that's what it is. We're expressing ourselves through art. You leave something for those that love you, those that even don't know you, that relate to what you're saying.
Yeah.
So all really like take something from a song like that. And even me, who's sitting right here across from you, you know what I mean, still be like, yeah, like I appreciate that. I appreciate that subject matter, and being able to address these things and talk about them only empowers us to really embrace our life and to live our life and be okay with our life and not fear death. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree.
Because we are facing it.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Bringing it back, man, Mr. Ballistic, bro. You know what I mean? I was introduced to the man as Scribe. You know what I mean? He came into contact with me as a producer. Hit me up. He was like, "Yo, I got some beats." This was what, I don't know, 2 years ago or longer. He's like, "I got some beats, man." He sent me a beat. I just wrote to it right away, recorded it right away, sent it right back to him. It was called Tahoe to Boston, like one of my favorite songs in my catalog. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, but beyond that, like, we kept in contact, we kept working. But beyond that, yo, he's a good dude, man. He's like, you know what I'm saying? He's one person that I've never actually met face to face, but he's my friend. You know what I'm saying? He's a real dope individual, man. And honestly, one of the like gotta be the illest connect in the music industry I've ever had, as far as putting people together, connecting people. You know what I mean? And he's nice on the beats. You know what I mean? Nice. He creates a unique sound that kind of brings you back, you know what I mean, to something that you remember, you know what I'm saying? But Scribe, aka Ballistic, aka Dwayne Miller, and something I've been realizing lately is he's nice with the raps, you know what I mean? He got that, he got those raps, and it's like, yo, you know what I'm saying? And then he got the voice, and he be saying that stuff, and it's like, y'all two on the track, man. I could hear both of you guys doing a project together or something like that, you know what I mean? Just teaching folks. You know? So yeah, big shout out to Ballistic, aka Scribe, man. I know he's watching earlier, yo. You know what I mean? Big shout out.
Yeah. He's a good dude, man. And like you said, he's got all the connects. He puts in the work. He puts in the work to make things happen. And you know, he's a very persistent dude. So don't sleep on him, because he's gonna let you know. He's gonna let you know he needs some stuff done.
Applying pressure. Scribe applies pressure, yo. Yeah, that's how you get things done, man. Big shout out to Scribe, man. Yo. All right, man. So let's keep it moving. So let's get into another track. Let's get right into it. Let's get into
all right.
So we got this last track, right?
Yeah. So of the 4 tracks, the last one should be Underground Movement. Now, the reason I saved this one for last, which it's funny because I don't think that was the last one when I sent the other the total of tracks, but of the 4, my appreciation for this one comes from, at some point I transitioned from wanting to just be the rapper to actually enjoying making beats. Like, up into a certain point, I made beats because I had to. And then anytime a producer would come around, it's like, great, come in and help us because I just want to rap, you know? And then I got to a point where it's like, hey, this is actually really fun for me. I love the way things sound. I love sound manipulation. I love putting everything through the way it goes. So this next track is one of the first tracks on, well, the only track on my last album. It was called Still Hustlin', and it was the only song of the 20 tracks that I produced. Everything else was done by Philly Blunt, ERG, Lethal on the beats, Rhyme and Reason, Camouflage. I might be forgetting a couple, but for the most part, it was all my buddies and all people that I've worked with in the area. I wanted my idea on that last album that I did was called Still Hustlin', and the reason I called it Still Hustlin' is because my first solo album was called Hustlin' to the Top. But Still Hustlin' had 20 tracks, and what I wanted to do is kind of touch different feels and genres of hip hop. So like one would be like a raw hip hop, one would be like Spanish style, because my when we talk about influences, the Chicano rap was a very heavy influence on me because it was more of the stuff that I could relate to. You know, a lot of the Mexican rappers that were local, San Diego, LA, like Orange County. I was listening to a lot of that stuff, and a lot of that stuff I could relate to. So that was a lot of the heavy influence on my first stuff. And then moving forward, it's continued without. So I guess point being, so going back to this track in specifically, it was the only track on that album that I produced. I got a couple of my buddies on it to rap with me, and the whole thing it's called Underground Movement, and it's exactly what it sounds like. It's like, no longer and Master P in my mind started this movement, is no longer do you need the major label. Yeah. You could start doing everything on your own, and you could start this, I hate to use the word because I already did, movement of rappers just doing their own thing. But look where we're at now. Look at all this what social media did for all these other rappers that are up getting millions of views with minimal exposure outside of that. No major media marketing. Sony doesn't back them. All these, maybe they get deals after, but social media and just pushing your stuff. Yeah. Pushing it through as an independent artist is where it really ended up. And this track back in, I want to say maybe we did it in 2008. This was my idea. So, yeah, without further ado, I guess.
Very interesting. Very interesting. So we got to hear this, man. So we got Mike Matter with his track called Underground Movement, representing what he believes is what we can do as artists, man. Create our own underground movement, man. Herm Radio. Let's go. Mike M.
It's the underground movement, we move in our music, cruising through the fullest, watch how we do it, straight to the top, what? No one's gonna stop us, saying that we not, wait till we pop up. It's the underground movement, we move in our music, cruising through the fullest, watch how we do it, straight to the top, what? No one's gonna stop us, saying that we not, wait till we pop up. I keep it G, cause I come from the underground, they throw me B's when they see me come around. A bunch of clowns be hating and talking about us. They need to understand that they gotta keep their mouth shut. Come around us, see we ain't about faking. We put our whole life in the music that we making. No mistaking, we always keep it real. So stop that nonsense, homie, you gotta chill. Stand still, the underground is taking over. Emerging to the surface, don't mistake us for some gophers. We be soldiers, charging to the front line. Fully loaded, take them out with just one punchline, one rhyme. Of the millions we be sitting on, can't keep up. It's best that you be getting gone, coming strong. And it's all about music. This ain't no invasion, it's the underground movement. It's the underground movement, we move in our music, cruising through the fullest, watch how we do it, straight to the top, what? No one's gonna stop us, saying that we not, wait till we pop up. It's the underground movement, we move in our music, cruising through the fullest, watch how we do it, straight to
talking right now. This is our lifestyle. Divide our rhymes from the clowns. Now, this is a movement mostly influenced by that music. Constant improving, get used to it. Smooth hitters, always with some cool bitches. Swoop swiftly, ego attitude equal. For the people, if you catch me, I'm peaceful. That don't mean I ain't lethal, just in case you didn't think so. Hit the weed smoke, homie, you breathe slow. For sure, get mo, leave the drama at home. You're in the zone, hearing words spoke from the unknown. Reborn, say hello to the newest of sounds. The underground to the round table, taking its crown. Rebounded from the doubt that was found. Come on now.
It's the underground movement, we move in our music, cruising through the foolish. Watch how we do it, straight to the top. What? No one's gonna stop us saying that we not. Wait till we pop. It's the underground movement, we move in our music, cruising through the foolish. Watch how we do it, straight to the top. What? No one's gonna stop us saying that we not. Wait till we pop.
It's that underground movement, that new and improved shit, that shit that gets you lifted, the high and the mystic. Our music's an exquisite, cool place to visit. From the past to the present, we get it poppin' with no questions. Answer anything, from them beats and rhymes, I think we mastered everything. From the live shows to the heavy swings, we not the new kids, but we on your block, city to city, connecting the dots. I'ma ride through this bitch leaning sideways, doing my thing till this rhyme pays. And for your pussycats joking, just keep your legs open and prepare for the long road home. Cause we got it locked down and you just don't know. Making music till it's system overload. It's about that time to make it right for the crew. Under the soil, so to us is nothing new.
It's the underground movement, we move in our music, cruising through the foolish. Watch how we do it, straight to the top. What? No one's gonna stop us saying that we not. Wait till we pop. It's the underground movement, we move in our music, cruising through the foolish. Watch how we do it, straight to the top. What? No one's gonna stop us saying that we not. Wait till we pop up.
I mess with that one. I mess with that track, bro. I enjoy that joint.
Thanks, man.
Got that beat, man. That kind of like certain beats, like what do you call that? Hit the parking lot, then swerve. You know that song? It's like that. It's certain that sense, them synths that go like that. Din, 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 you know what I mean? It's kind of like you used to hear it in like trance music or something. I love when they use that. When they use that in the hip hop. Y'all did your thing with the raps too, man. Definitely enjoyed that track. Tell us about that track. I know you gave us an introduction and everything, man. Who were them other two dudes on there?
So that's the second verse. So I did the hook and I did the first verse. Second verse was my boy Jay Rolla, and then third verse was my boy Philly Blunt, who also does a lot of production on that album that I was telling you about. So he's kind of a jack of all trades too. He could produce, he could rap, he could write. He gets down on the hook. So yeah, they both got down on that track specifically, and yeah, that's why that's one of my favorites, man.
Yeah, man. And yo, you talking about throwing the V's up? What's that? That's Ventura, California, or something?
Yeah. So the label that I had started going back to when we actually did it as a business and actually did it as a record label, it was called V-Town Records, which stood for Ventura. We were coming out of Ventura, California, and yeah, it lasted for a while, and then up until the point where I couldn't afford it anymore, and then obviously moved away from home. So V-Town's still in my heart forever, right. But I can't be throwing out V-Town Records way out in Menifee, California. So it's stuck with Mike M Productions, which doesn't really alienate me because a lot of people were like, "Hey, I'm not from V-Town. Why would I?" You know what I mean? It's just it gets weird. It gets weird. Turns into like a gang thing or something, and then people just get weird about it. So. Yeah, so Mike M Productions now, and yeah, still trying to put stuff out.
Dope, man. So that leads me to wrapping it up, man. We heard some great music and everything. I want to ask you, man, what's next for Mike M? What's down the pipeline for Mike M? What do you want people to know about, and so forth?
So I guess a couple things. I have a cool little stack of songs that never got released, and I was trying to put a few more things together to last year put out 20 Years Later. I was just gonna call it 20 Years Later, the album. But I'm not really rapping that much anymore. I enjoy it. I will feature on things. I still have fun with it. I still got shit to say, but moreover, I like to be behind the scenes. I like to be the creator of seeing what other people can come up with and rap on, and you know, do video production for people that want to see their ideas come to life, or little animation type stuff, or so projects on the line right now. I'm trying to do a little like new wave 80s type instrumental album. That might be the next thing. Might be, I haven't decided. I kind of wanted to go, I'm really big on horror movies, so I kind of wanted to go like more horror-ish sound.
That'd be dope. That would be dope.
But this last track that I produced a couple nights ago sounded just way more just 80s retro synthwave, as opposed to with any horror element. So we'll see where it goes. I don't know yet. It might be two. And then so that 20 years, going back to the 20 Years Later, that was supposed to be a regular CD. A double disc was supposed to be. I'm trying to remember how I was doing it. I think it was going to be a double disc with the previous album, and then I was going to do one of those USB sticks that had all my albums and all my whole catalog, because I got tons of music that never got put out. So I don't know if that'll ever happen.
Did you?
I did. I go through disc makers for a lot of stuff.
They do
and
USB?
Disc makers was kind of like, they were kind of like the clear cut winner for me that I was going to do. It was going to look like a little cassette tape.
Word, you could do that?
Yeah, and then you flip it out and it's a USB stick. So it's still a possibility, but not in the near future. But we'll see what happens. But yeah, that was a cool little feature that I wanted to try and put out. Beyond that, I'm working. I don't know if anybody from East Coast is privy, but I'm having the pleasure to work with Mr. Night Owl, based out of San Diego. One of his artists, Big J, is coming through, and I'm helping with his live show they got called Bump It or Dump It. They're doing a good thing for independent artists. They're basically having them submit songs and playing it for the fan to decide if it's good or not, you know. And back in the day, because like I said, I was bumping Mr. Night Owl back in the 90s. So to say, hey, Mr. Night Owl checked out one of my songs, you know, that's cool. That's cool. An artist that you look up to. So he's doing a good thing for the hip hop community right now himself. And so I'm working with them a little bit.
So they're taking like independent artists to submit music?
So yeah, so it's hey, anybody wants to submit songs for us to play on our radio show, cool, do it. It's called Bump It or Dump It. Basically, the people listening come on and we'll say like, hey, bump this song, or hey, dump this song, it's not good. And yeah, it's fun. It's a fun little show. I set up everything video wise for Big J to come through and do it, all sound wise, got them all hooked up. So that's a fun little project we got going on. I think it's moving to, it used to be Tuesdays and Fridays, now it's just Saturdays. But so that's something I'm working on consistently now.
How can artists submit to get involved with that?
So yeah, if you want to submit to their show, it's I believe it's bump it or dump it official at gmail.com. You submit to that, whether it's a link or an MP3 or whatever, and Big J will run through when he's doing the requests or whatever it's called, and he'll play it. And like I said, whoever's tuning in gets to kind of give their input. You know, could be a rough crowd, could be a loving crowd. Who knows? Who's going to be tuning in that day? So it's one of those things. Like that's how I kind of connected with them. I submitted a song. I think it was Baby Girl that I submitted, and as soon as I submitted, I'm like, oh, but what if nobody likes it? What if I get eaten alive? You know what I mean? It's like I stopped trying to perform and do all that stuff long ago, you know. So but it was cool. It was cool. They said, oh, cool track, you know. The whoever was listening kind of chimed in and was like, yeah, this is good, bump it, you know. So I was like, oh, cool, that's cool, because I was all nervous about it.
That's a powerful track. That's a unique track, and you did it well. It's not even just the lyrics or just what you're saying, but listening to it as a hip hop piece, like that track is dope, man. I hope that, you know what I mean? I know the subject matter ain't popular because everybody, you know, people would rather talk about, like, you know, this and that, baby mamas, yada, 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 you know, money, all that type of stuff. But it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that you got subject matter and, like, such a endearing from the heart, really dedication to, like, your personal family member, like, that really a lot of people could relate to, man. A lot of people could relate to it. Even though it's your personal story, a lot of people could, like, relate to that. They might not even be on that level, and they might aspire to get on that level because of your dedication, because they're like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
for real, bro. So yeah, I'm not surprised by people messing with that track. I think anybody that don't mess with that track, You know what I mean? It's like cold hearted or something. Like I don't know. Like they feel I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
So yeah, I bet that track will get a lot of love wherever you play it. Yo, Mike, bro, it's been an absolute pleasure. You know what I mean? I know we've spoken and corresponded in the past, but this is the first time we got down to have the faces of face. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I got to learn more about you. I know that anybody that's listening to this that heard the tracks, you know what I'm saying, is definitely like put up on like what you're doing, is definitely going to be looking into your music, your productions, all the dope stuff you got going on. 20 years later, what is it? Is it 20 years later?
That's what I was gonna call it.
20.
Yeah.
That sounds like a really dope concept and a dope idea. We'll definitely be checking for that. So when you're about
Appreciate
ready to release that, send me that link, and we're gonna be like sharing that around. You know what I mean? So anybody
For
that's
sure.
listening could follow up, see what's up with that project, and like in the meantime, where can people like hear your music? Do you have any music that's just out?
So Spotify has my one album that had the 20 tracks. That was the last full album that I put out. It's called Still Hustling. That's, you can find it on Spotify, iTunes, Amazon Music, where I think all digital. I did a digital deal with that one. Everything else is just kind of hidden in my vault. Haven't let a lot. I still got 1,000 copies of my first CD just sitting in my garage because I never ended up putting it out, but it's out there. But yeah, so if anybody wants to hear it, I'm on Spotify, Mike M, Still Hustling. There's a couple other albums on there from other Mike M's. They got kind of meshed together, but Still Hustling should be the only one that's online digitally. Other than that, any kind of instrumentals, you can find me on Snapchat and not MySpace, but Facebook under Mike M Productions. But Snapchat is the main spot where I post videos because it's only there for 24 hours and it's gone. But it's usually whatever I'm working on at the time. That's when I put my stuff on there. And let me see if I could pull up my name on there for people to add me. Should have had this prepared, but I wasn't thinking about that. It's under Mike 99, MIKE 99, and that name comes from obviously Mike, and then MIC is a microphone, and 99 is when I recorded my first song. So again, always going with the full meaning when I'm doing stuff. So
No doubt. Yo, Mike, bro, much respect, man. I'm definitely gonna be checking out the old music, going through checking out Mike M. You know what I'm saying? And like, I can't wait to hear the. You know, I know some of the music is pre-released, so I won't say new music, but I can't wait to hear the new projects. Definitely stay in touch. Let's keep on. We got a joint out right now. We didn't play it, but it's called Self-Destruction that me and you are featured on, as well as a couple of other artists that you produce. It's really dope. Definitely go check that out. And Mike, bro, at that, we out, man.
Appreciate it.
Yo, have a good one. Stay blessed, man. One love.
Yep.
All right, man. Have a good one. All right, yo, so anybody that's still watching, I want to go ahead and let y'all know that this Wednesday I'm going to be releasing First You See the Blood, Then You See the Money. You know what I mean? It's I don't even know what album it is. I got a few albums out. I don't know what number album it is, but this one's my best so far. I really got a lot to say, man. I really spoke a lot from the heart. I've been working on this for a while. You know what I mean? Got on the beat. Produced the whole thing, you know what I mean, for the most part. Shout out to Skinny Bones for the track with G.O.D. You know what I mean? We got a couple singles off of it right now. If I Die Tonight is one of the singles. It's out right now, man, but definitely check it out. It's called First You See the Blood, Then You See the Money. It's going to be dropping Wednesday, 6/17. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to be available everywhere as well as burnherm.bandcamp.com. You know what I'm saying? So if you heard my music, if you haven't heard my music, definitely check it out. I got something for everybody, and it's from the soul, bro. I'm here to speak my truth, man, because it's bigger than me. So please listen. You know what I'm saying? First you see the blood, then you see the money. Available everywhere. 6/17. Burn Herm, we out. One.